What's up, y'all? Um, Today I want to talk about a few things I've been chewing on and reflecting into, and the first being the law of accumulation. Um, I feel like for me, sometimes you lose sight of the fact that when we pour ourselves into something daily, that the accumulative effect of that over a long period of time can be exponential, and there can be so much power in showing up to the things that matter to us, and not just showing up in a way that is forceful, but in a way that is a genuine expression of who you are and where you're going in life. I feel like for me, what I'm working on is making decisions that really are aligned with my freedom and are aligned with what is the most authentic, genuine expression of who I am. And I feel like when we are able to express ourselves in a way that is genuine, that we move in a way that is authentic with our desires and authentic with where we truly want to be. And if we do not honor that expression, we lose track of where we are and who we are and where we're going. Another concept I've been reflecting on is this piece of playing to win or having an expectation that effort will be good, and something I feel like I've lost sight of over the past year or so is really expecting a or thinking of myself as a winner, or thinking of myself as somebody who is capable of achieving the things that I set out to do. And I feel like over time, we lose track of the belief that we have in ourselves. And I talked about this in a previous video, but I really am solidifying this idea of if you believe in something, you should act on it. And if through that action, that belief will be amplified. And I feel like we don't sometimes give ourselves enough credit to act and move in a way that will lead to what we want. And I feel like the things that hold us back within those places are fear, are, not seeing ourselves as like the main character of our own life. I feel like a lot of the times we move in a way that is responsive to other people's expectations or the things that we happen to find ourselves being a part of. And that for me um, is just not a way to live life. You know, I speak about this, but as we trust our intuition, as we trust what is very genuine for us and what's very intentional and what moves us, we start to come to this place of realization that we can achieve whatever we want to, and all things are possible. Um, and it's not in a hallmarky way, but in a way that is very genuine. In that the things that you genuinely want and desire are right there for the taking, and these things that maybe you've forgotten about or that you have decided are no longer for you are still there for the taking. It's still there. It's really comes down to you believing enough in yourself to pursue what is meaningful for you, to pursue what you love in this life, to have faith that your action will bear a result. And that's independent of what you see from the external world. And I talk about this and I'll continue to talk about this, is that when you live from a place of your intuition, when you live from a place of what is the most authentic, genuine expression of who you are, and you live from that artist within you, that creative, that conscious part of you that knows what you need and is willing to live a life not of addition, but of subtraction. Um, I read this quote one time, and it said that design the the best design is not the addition of things, but is the elimination of all unnecessary detail. And if we apply that principle to our own lives, what could you be removing? What unnecessary details are currently in your life that are messing up the aesthetic or the design of what you want? And that's a daunting thing to ask yourself. It's something that I struggle with myself, of being almost like we find ourselves in our lives have certain momentum to them, and there are certain expectations that are asked upon us, of society, of our friends, of our family, of the things we even promised ourselves. But what about checking in with yourself in this moment, in today, in what we have now, to say, how do I feel in relation to that momentum, to that momentum? Because that momentum, a lot of the times, is not based off of where you are currently. That momentum is based off of all of your past experiences and all the things that you've been through, and the ups and the downs, and the things that you could be reacting to. And it's taking you 1,000 miles an hour, but when's the last time you slowed down to check in with yourself and say, is this the direction that I want to be going? Is this right for me? And am I pursuing things in a way that's genuine for me? And that genuine expression, I feel, is, I talk about this, it's almost a duty for us to honor that, and to give that the space to flourish. Because if we don't, it's gonna die. it's like any it's like any muscle. I feel like even our neurochemistry, our brains, our lives are so dictated on the fact that, do we want to use those things? And like working out, if you don't use a muscle, it tends to atrophy. I feel like creativity, and I feel like our dreams and our goals and our vision and the things we want for our lives are very similar, in the fact that if we don't water those things, and if we don't move on those things and act within those things, they can tend to die, and they can tend to lose their vigor. And I feel like it's our greatest duty to live from that place of vigor, live from that place of passion, live from that place of doing what's genuine for you, independent of what other people think. And that's how it is, like even today. So I worked out at this little gym in downtown Denver, and it was one of the first gyms I ever joined, or worked out at, when I moved here. And it kind of gives off this very, the aesthetic of it is really nice. It has like a neighborhood hole in the wall. It's like in a basement, but it has like the sun pierces through the window. So it's almost like I get this like bat cave type vibes. And today or yesterday, I really felt like, man, I want to go hit that up. I want to go hit that up, and I kind of want to just be present with myself. I just want to be slow, and I want to be present with myself. I don't want to go be around my friends. I don't want to go be around my friends today, but I want to give myself the space to see what comes out of me, to see what I'm doing. And I feel like when we give ourselves presence, and when we have the conscious, it doesn't have to be all the time, right? Because I feel like not only I feel like our subconscious runs our life, because that's why I have this, is our subconscious is constantly reading the environment, constantly listening to how we feel, and then moving us, right? Because we're always in flux. But what if we put the conscious effort into aligning our actions with freedom, and with the most authentic space within us? And it's not something to be afraid of. I feel like people fear that which they don't understand. People fear darkness. They fear expression. Um, they fear chaos. And there's this. I'll have to share it with you guys, but there's this. I don't know if it's like Nordic, or I think it's like Swedish, or one of those countries, but it says that, um, it's like, to liberate yourself, you have to invite chaos. This is something I learned from coaching soccer at Mullen High School. The program really was built off of, um, chaos. And one of the core principles of coaching there and playing there was and this is a principle that goes down to athletics, is can you maintain yourself? How do you respond in chaos? Can you embrace chaos? Can you move into chaos and still have your mind be clear and calm? And I think that's the greatest sign of mental agility. That's the greatest sign of spiritual growth, of really being in alignment with yourself. Is it's not about anything that happens around you. It's truly about, can you maintain a sense of peace and clarity within your mind no matter what is happening, right? And that's not to say don't move towards the things you care about. That's not to say who cares about your desires. I feel like those things are the things you should put conscious steps towards, conscious effort into, is getting closer to what you genuinely want. But it's that ability to hold peace within your mind as you do that. And I feel like the greatest indicators that you're moving out of a space that is good, or you're kind of losing touch with what's genuine for you, is if you feel tension within your mind. It's like this buildup of, our minds fixate on things, and they look at situations and people and interactions with others, and it gets really like, it attaches itself to things because it has this mental projection of what it wants to happen. And that mental picture, the more you're attached to any mental picture, the more you're attached to any results, the more that you almost like need something to happen. The more you crave something, the more you're not in the now, the more that you live in the future or in the past, your mind feels this like storm. Your mind feels tension. And the way that you alleviate that tension is being real with the fact that it's there, allowing it to exist, but not acting, not letting your presentation and how you show up in the world and express yourself be affected by that tension in your mind. And you can release that tension in your mind by allowing it to be there and observing it and letting it pass. Because only, I feel, when we fixate on things that are attachments, that is that we get stuck. And the quickest way out of, I mean, I even found myself recently attaching my mind to a situation and to like a relational dynamic that I was like really I feel like I'm really invested in, and it made me like just really desire for that outcome to happen, or like for this person to feel a certain way based off of my actions. And I feel like these things are innately not ours to control, right? And I feel like it's okay to want to treat others well and to want to love others well and to want the best for others. But at the end of the day, it's not about necessarily how you, any result that you may create, but really all you can control is how you show up and how you express yourself authentically within these situations. And your ability to do so, and your ability to have space between yourself and that situation, is for you to focus on yourself and to love yourself, and to have really deep self love, and to have really deep self respect, and to come from a place of choosing yourself over what other people want. I've said no. Even yesterday, I was invited to two uh, a sports game, and I was invited to a gathering, social gathering, and I said no to both, and I chose to focus on myself. I chose to go to bed early. I chose to stay locked in with the things that I really want to do. And I feel like, and I feel really good today, and I feel really at peace, and I feel more in tune. I feel like there's less tension in my mind. I feel like I've made the right call. And I feel like it's only when we can choose ourselves in situations that are tough, because I feel like innately we want to be a part of everything. We want to do everything. I'm somebody who, even in my past, I would try to do everything. I would say yes to everything. I would do all this, and I would, even in college, I would, I wrote for the student paper, and I played soccer, and I was in a fraternity, and I had a girlfriend, and I had the friend group, and I was trying to take 6 classes, 18 credit hours, and these things innately are not bad. I feel like this desire that we have to do everything isn't bad, but it's only when, and I call it like elite level self-love, because it's this transformative powers when you can take your what you're aiming at off of anything external, and you can just point it towards how your body, your mind, your soul, your holistic experience in this life. And when you can do that, man, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see and you start to feel good about your life, and you feel present, and you feel like you're equipped to show up better. You're equipped to do the things that you need to do. And yeah, I even had this big moment this morning when and as I express myself and I make these videos and I put myself out there, I had this was in 2020 when I moved to Denver. I have this vision for um this business or this brand, and it's called like Neuralife. And Neuralife, and I have a logo built out. It's really cool. It's like a brain with lightning around it, and it's black background, um yellow color. And it speaks so much to me in that, like, the things I personally love in this life are, and the things that fascinate me and the things I'm so curious about, it's the brain, it's our belief systems, it's our subconscious mind, it's neurochemistry, neuroscience, it's goal achievement, it's uh relational dynamic, it's health, it's these things that I love, that I'm so passionate about. And it's all I was reminded of this goal and this mission that I have to, like, impact people with that. And it's only through making the decision to um not go to normal fitness class today, not go see people, but to spend time with myself, that you almost hit certain notes within yourself. You go so deep that what the what starts to come out of you is, it's not even, it's literally it's so cool, man. It's so cool because it's you stop being in reaction altogether, and then you start listening to who you are. And as you do that, man, you find some really cool things. Like, really, when I talk about like deeper notes, I mean like deeper notes of, these are things that I have desired for decades, things that I've really always wanted to do, really always wanted to lean into. I feel like you're only able to listen to that when you give yourself the space and you honor that space within yourself to do so. And it's a powerful thing when we can live our life from that space, and we can be truly genuine in our expression, who we are in this world. It feels really good. And the game changer, like the piece that is so amazing is, you stop feeling anxiety. You stop feeling like you're doing the wrong thing, or and I don't know if y'all have ever felt this, but a lot of the times in life I felt like I'm not in the right place. I'm not living in the right place. I'm not doing the right thing. My life doesn't look a certain way. It needs to look that, and I would almost torture myself. I would almost, like, hate the way that I went about my life. And I almost it it's sad, and it's almost like this space of you, when you live in a way that you're doing the thing that you know that you should, like, there's greater, there's more, and it's there for you. And my ultimate encouragement with making these videos, with serving you guys, is that you get to that space, that you stop running from what's true to you, that you stop looking for an escape, you stop numbing yourself, you stop doing, you get off this fucking hamster wheel that life has you on. And it's just going to turn you and turn you and turn you, and it's going to spit you out and spit you out and leave you in the only space that you can go do, is to go look at yourself in the mirror and say, what am I doing? And when am I going to start living my life for me and not for everyone else, or not for the expectations of these other people. And it's such a difficult thing to do. I have spent decades trying to almost coax myself into being that person, or coax myself, or it's like softly encouraging myself to be that guy. And I've gone through phases where I've really leaned in, and then I've forgotten, and then I've come back to it. And I feel like the beauty of that process is you learn so much when you can lean into it, and then you learn a lot when you lean out and you say to yourself, why wasn't I focused on this? But the beauty of it, right, is the sustained effort towards getting yourself to love yourself, to have self respect, to choose yourself first, to be the one who is not afraid of what's to come, but to be someone who is confronting what's coming. And you really take a lot of power in your life back when you say, I'm going to confront what is happening here. I'm not going to run away from it. That goes for internal, that goes for external responsibility, that goes for the things that you need to do within yourself. When you can confront them, and it's super scary, right? I think when things are left avoided for a really long time, they appear bigger than they are. They become this like scary monster. Like, and even if it's something so simple like doing the dishes or taking the trash out, it's like if you leave that thing there for 2 months, it's gonna look a lot scarier than it is if you just, as things come up, you approach them and you say, okay, what is this? How do I engage with this? What's going on here? Um, it's funny for me. I feel like a lot of my external world is, or a lot of what I've achieved in this external world has been from a physical standpoint, an athletic standpoint, a like proving to myself in a lot of ways that I'm worthy through soccer and through sports and through um, physical expression. That's a domain that I love. That's a domain that I thrive in. That's a domain that lights me up. And while that's amazing, I no longer feel a lot of fear around it. I'm no longer afraid of, hey, what would it look like if I went and ran a half marathon? Or what would it look like if I did a high rocks event? Or what would it look like if I played, uh, competitive soccer? Like these things feel like innately I've lost a lot of like the nerves I have around them. And I feel like nerves are a good thing, but nerves are a good thing because it shows that you care. I think like also like I think it's really simple, and it's not good when you're not excited enough to feel something. I feel like sometimes we numb ourselves so much. Like you should feel up, like for a race or for a game or for a date or for something that should like activate something within you. You should feel something. Or I think even in the past, I've gotten in places to where I felt nothing. I feel like almost numb to like things that should get you excited. And I think that tells you that you're far from yourself. But all that to say, the the piece that is powerful about that is we can't stay far from ourselves. And what I was saying was, I no longer get nervous about these physical things. But for me now, the process personally is confronting what's happening inside of me and looking at myself and saying, whoa, why does my nervous system feel like, why is my nervous system going crazy in this situation? Or why don't I feel safe in this situation or around that person? Or why am I avoiding this thing within myself? Or what am I going to do about this relationship? Or what am I going to do about this work project or this spiritual thing that I'm navigating? And these are internal things that I have to confront. It's no longer I like it's a bit it's very spiritual because I feel like people get lost in thinking that the battles that they're fighting they're external, like they need to go like war, like we need to go fight somebody, we need to go fly overseas, get the oil, and dominate this and have the biggest wiener over here and like be this um top dog. Like there's like that top dog mentality. And I think from the context of competition, that's like a, you could go from that space. I feel like operating from a standpoint of less ego, you actually get further. You actually have better results, even in the realm of competition. You thrive better when you move from a place of creative expression and love, and that's a super difficult place. That's something I'm been navigating for the past 10 years with soccer, and my love for the game and my love for being around the game and coaching and playing and learning that it's not all about winning and that life is in a lot of ways about what you can offer to a situation. It's not about what you can take. And I think that moving from a standpoint of ego and moving from a standpoint of needing to win all the time, you're coming from a taking mentality. But when we can love things for what they are, and when we can come from a standpoint of what can I give, what can I offer, how can I flourish within this situation, your results end up being way better. So all that to say, there's a really powerful way to go about life that if you do so when you're connected with yourself, you get way better results. You get way better results. Life is way more seamless. Your ability to flourish um, is amplified, and you get to that space by choosing yourself and learning that, and almost making life intimate with yourself, right? Because we talk a lot about romanticizing your life, and I think people I think some people will love somebody else to death, and they'll bend over backwards and do so many things for others, but you are also responsible for yourself. you're also you're also responsible for treating yourself with the same love that you treat other people with, and that's the piece that in a lot of ways I feel like athletes struggle with, and high performers and high achievers is there's this there's this thing called parts work, and if you're familiar with mental health at all, it's this concept that there are many versions of you. There are many versions of Michael, and there's like child Michael, and then there's teenage Michael, and then there's young adult Michael, and then there's future Michael, there's old Michael, and then there's down the line, and then there's present Michael, and all of these versions of you have matter. All these versions of you deserve awareness and consciousness, and they deserve your conscious presence, because what I'm saying is, an athlete, something that happened to me was got really good at like bullying myself. I got really good at like guilting myself or treating myself with shame, or uh, treating myself like I didn't, or like the only thing that mattered was results. And I'd be really hard on myself, and I would almost like uh, force myself into goal achievement, force myself into results. And force is not a place that you ever really, I feel like you can in a short burst, like you leverage things like anger and things like um, anger and even like fear and all that. You can leverage these negative emotions to get yourself to really like but what you'll notice is, if you like LeBron James, like you see that like when he went to Miami and he was on his fucking villain tour, and he just like used anger, and he used all that like fire of, yo, all the Cleveland fans hate me, well, I'm gonna go take all that and win a championship. And he lost to the Mavs. That's my team. But then he went on. I'm not sure. I know he won one in Miami. I think he won a couple. But all that to say, anger is a powerful mover. Even what I've read, there's some really good literature by David Hawkins, and he teaches about um, the physics of emotion, or the like how physics and emotion are connected and how it moves within us. And a big piece of that is every emotion that we feel, like as a it vibrates at a certain level. So when you're and if you're below 200 on that scale, you're basically dead. Like things like apathy, death are like down by 0 to 100. And what you can break through into life, you get to you're actually like living if you go past 200. 200 is the benchmark, and it goes all the way up to 1,000, which is enlightenment. But to get 200, to get over 200, you can actually use anger. Anger can be a tool to like like anger is actually a better emotion to take and then use than being apathetic or being depressed or being sad, because you're actually in motion at that point. So it can be a tool, but it's not sustainable. And like I said, when you're up in love, joy, acceptance, willingness, um, those higher emotions, you just do things in a more seamless way. Things get achieved. There's more of a flow to your life. And in regards to sports and athletics, and to tie it back into me, I had to let go, and I still work on this. I still, man, I find myself sometimes being so fucking triggered, man. Like this guy pisses me off, or like this fucking thing happened and I don't get it and I wish it was fucking different, and I'm fucking pissed, man. I'm telling you, like I can get really fucking angry, and it's something that I really have to temper with awareness, and I really have to temper with um like realizing that that is just it's a reaction. And anger for me has always stemmed from uh I think like not being understood when I was a kid, or like not really I don't even know where it comes from, man, but I have this like really deep competitive drive, and I feel like in a lot of ways it's a great thing. I love the fact that I'm competitive. I love the fact that I want to win. I want to win in life. And the title of this video is going to be something along the lines of, believe enough in yourself to see yourself as a winner. And that really is the case. Like I love, and in a lot of ways I feel like we suppress or we reject the pieces of ourselves that are the most authentic to us. Like for me, like I said, I love to compete. I love to throw it all out there, put it all on the line to try to get a result, try to win, try to achieve something, to be a part of a team. These things, I love these things, man. These things get me so fucking fired up. It's something I'm like very, very, very passionate about. I love, like I was saying before, I love psychology. I love neurochemistry. I love sports. I love to play soccer. I like how these things that I like innately love, they are amazing things. And it's not that these things are bad, but I speak about how competition and your ego, if you're so driven, I'm not anti-ego. I feel like a lot of Eastern European teachers talk a lot about your ultimate goal in life is to lose your ego, right? And I think having a relationship with yourself is essentially having a relationship with your ego. Yourself is not your ego. But what I mean is you there will always be a piece of you that is driven by your ego. And I don't think if we choose to live in this life and we choose to engage in this physical reality, not having a connection to your ego is actually really stupid, because you're not going to get far. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to be able to live in relation to everything around you. So, yes, ego gone to the furthest extreme is really bad. But relation to your ego in general is a very positive thing. And I say this because the pieces of me that I am trying to integrate better, like competitive drive, like my desire to win, these are not bad things, right? I feel like honestly, really, I'm really only truly connected to myself when I let those pieces of me shine through, and um, I let myself be protective. I let myself live from that intense. I have this really intense aggressive side too, that like in a lot of ways I've not really let out of the bag, because man, it's like no, like I want to be humble, and I want to I want to I'm afraid of what this person may think about me. And that's another really important piece which I want to record a video on. Let me know in the comments if um you want to hear me talk about this, but there's this, we have to be willing to be disliked. You have to willing to not be everyone's cup of tea. I would rather be hated. I'd rather be hated by most, but loved and cherished by a very small few than liked by every. Like, you don't want to be someone who's lukewarm or cold. You want to be someone who is um, all in on who you are, man. And I'm telling you, by doing that, you will attract the right things, the right people, the right places. You will be more in touch with reality in a way that feels genuine for you. Like for me, um, like I said, I have this desire to win. I have this competitive drive. I have this really soft and like artistic, loving side to me, and I also have this really kind heart. I know my mom. If you talk to her, I think she would say, and a lot of people who know me the best would say, the some of like the greatest, some of the like best pieces of me are how kind I am, and how like like how what my heart is like. And I feel like I haven't let that part of me shine through, and that's a big piece of me conquering my fear, even in recording these videos, and even me sharing my life is, I feel like when I've put that piece of me on display, or when I've said I'm gonna be artistic, or um, I'm gonna let I'm gonna allow myself to express myself, or I'm gonna trust the fact that if I put my heart on the line, that it's gonna be received. And I feel like through, I think, some rejection, and I feel like some just lack of belief in my direction in life, that I've let that that side of me not really shine through, and I'm excited to see what it will look like as it is expressed, and as it does exist. But I say all that because all of those pieces matter. All those pieces, there are pieces within you that are like very real and authentic, and for you shouldn't have to not let those shine through. You shouldn't have to not let those be present, because it's really only through that you live a life that is true. You live a life that means something. You live a life that matters. And competition can be a good thing. But if anything, be competitive about the right things. I think caring so much about a sports game, like, doesn't matter. Care enough about loving yourself greater. Care enough about serving the people in your life in a powerful way. Care enough about creating something amazing for yourself. Care enough about having the courage to take steps towards what you authentically want. Care enough about yourself enough, or more. Like, my greatest challenge to myself and you is, there are no depths to how great you can love yourself. And as you try to discover what those are, you will only experience a greater presence in today, and you will only experience a greater reality long term. So I would challenge you, my ultimate challenge is to see how far you could take self love, see how far you could take self respect, see how far you could listen to your intuition, see how far you could really like learn to love who you are, and love all the pieces of you that matter, man. Like, go for it. Like, truly let that rip. Like, be passionate about you. Fall in love with you. Romanticize your life within yourself. Don't externalize your needs. Stop seeking from outside what you can give yourself. And it's the ultimate journey. It's the ultimate journey of a lifetime of being this person who loves yourself more than anyone else could ever love you. And you have to learn to not externalize your needs. And that is a piece of life that is insane, but it is the best journey that you're going to go on. So, ultimate encouragement is in the title, or the focus of this video as it pertains, is see yourself, or value yourself enough to see yourself winning. See yourself as achieving the things that you want. Have the courage enough to take steps towards what matters to you, and believe enough in not in doing anything for other people, not in doing anything to receive some type of feedback, but doing it because you know that it's right for you, and doing it from the standpoint of you love yourself enough to pursue what matters to you, and to respect yourself enough to stop doing things that you don't want to do. Stop externalizing your needs. Stop doing anything that isn't right for you. Trust yourself enough to live in this moment and to live in a place of abundance of what you have going on currently, not of what other people want for you, but of what you believe is right for you. And to tie it even further back in, your life is on a current trajectory, whether you like it or not. You've made certain decisions, you have engaged in a reality that has attracted certain things, you currently do certain things in life, and that life, that path, that timeline has momentum. And my challenge for you would to be to look at that timeline and say, is this the timeline I want to be going on? Do I want to continue down that path? And then where can you make pivots or turns or move into spaces that are more in alignment with your highest timeline where you genuinely want to be, which is actually in line with the desires that you have, right? Because like even for myself, like today, I realized I'm like, man, am I really pursuing certain these things that I want with the level of focus and the level of vigor and oomph that is really going to take for them to come to fruition? And the answer was, uh, it always comes back to, man, I need to show up for myself better. I need to love myself more. I need to be even more disciplined about what matters. So, all that to say, make that assessment and make those shifts. This life is beautiful. And ultimately, I want to express love and gratitude. And I want to express just how much gratitude and how amazing this life can be, and how powerful this existence is, and how you don't like, so it really, it moves me because everyone is capable of this, and I feel like this is my ultimate mission in life. I feel is to raise the consciousness of humankind, and to like unlock and free people to see the power that they have within themselves. And I really want that for you. I want you to um, break free from this game in life that I think everyone and everything is trying to tweak how you do things. It's trying to move you in a way that isn't authentic for you. It's not who you are. And I want you to break free from that. I want you to see that A, you're worthy of love. B, you can do anything with your life. C, you don't have to listen to anybody. And D, you are capable. You're capable of all of these things. You're capable of moving towards your goals. You're capable of achieving your dreams. All of that is possible. All of it is not only just possible, you have to do it. You have to step out and go for this stuff, because no one is going to do it for you. Big part of, like, I've realized that being a man, or whatever, being a human has been, man, no one is going to bail you out, right? You might have your parents who can, or your family or your friends who can get you out of a situation in a pinch, but at the end of the day, you have to think about this stuff critically enough to see that no one's going to do it for you. And the people will try, and I feel like that's also the piece that frustrates me, is other people will um, really try to like impart their view of living onto you, and that's where religion, and that's where like just uh, I don't know, like religion really, or whatever, tries to tell you that like your life needs to look a certain way. And my challenge for you would be to think critically about what's being said to you. Think critically about the TV that you watch. Think critically about all the things that you are currently consuming. Break out of being a consumer and start to be somebody who creates more than they consume. And if you're able to kind of tilt that scale and be less of a consumer and more of somebody who creates, not only externally but internally, then you take more of an ownership and you have more power in your life to achieve the things that you want. And there's such a beauty in that. I want everyone to experience what it means in life to do the things that you want, not for other people, but for yourself, and to have the courage that things will work out. I feel like for me, for the longest time, I didn't pursue what I wanted was because I couldn't see, I didn't know the how, I didn't know what. All I would say was like, how am I gonna do this, and how am I gonna pay my bill, and all this stuff. There's all like the unknown, and the mind wants to latch onto uh like the it needs to know, it needs to be able to analyze and know. And I'm telling you, you don't have to know. You have to have faith, you have to have belief, you have to have courage, bravery. You have to be able to say like, I don't know you. It's not about knowing, because you're never really going to know, but you have to have the desire to say like, I'm going to take this courageous step in the direction that I feel like is correct for me. And yes, I don't know, and yeah, like maybe logistically it might shake some things up in your life. You're learning about my story, but a big piece of this was me, um, getting fired from my corporate job, me getting out of a relationship that was out of alignment for me and I was compromising my values for, me moving away from my hometown to live in a different uh, part of the country because I knew that like there's something more out there. There's something greater than just this like noise, this fucking noise, this bullshit almost. It's not, and it's not that life is bullshit, but it's like external noise and other people's expectations for what you should do don't mean fucking anything. They mean literally nothing. And for you to even get in touch with who you are, for you to even get the ideas that you want to get, you have to almost remove yourself from environments that aren't for you. You have to say like, no, mom and dad, I'm not going to do that. I'm no, dad, I'm not going to become an accountant like you, or no, I'm not going to work this 9 to 5. It's like everyone will have their idea of what you should do, and that's only based off of their level of thinking about your life. But it's not your your life is your life. Um it's not that other it's not that other ideas are bad. What I'm saying is like, to really do this, sometimes it's going to take leaps of faith where you're going to have zero answers. You're going to have zero like concept of the steps. And I'll tell you right now, as soon as you get on the path, as soon as you say, I'm willing to try, I'm willing to work towards something, the steps will present themselves. The allies will show up. You will meet different avatars, it's something we'll talk about this more. But an avatar is basically different types of people in your life who um, embody certain things. So, like, I think we're all on this like caricature arc, or like this. We're all doing this like journey of life, and like we each have like a mentor come into our life, like a best friend, a lover, a an elder, all these things. And everyone, they will appear as you go, but you have to get enough kinetic energy to go. And that's where um, things like self-love and self-respect and taking care of yourself come into play. Because if you're not firing on all cylinders and you're not doing the right stuff, you're not going to see these things. You're not going to be able to move on these things. You're not going to be able to have the vision and the foresight, or even like the activation energy within you to say like, hey, that's the right thing. So this is a lot, and this has gone almost an hour, but and if you're still listening to this, man, I'm incredibly grateful. But ultimately, what I want to express, like I said, is gratitude. And I have this desire, this willingness for myself and for other people and for you to get to this place where you love your life, get to this place where you feel like you're being genuine with yourself, get to this place where you're no longer living for others, you're no longer trapped in this scheme, or you feel like you're trapped in the system, or you feel like you're uh, doing things for others, but you are genuinely connected with what's best for you. And you believe enough in yourself to move on those things and to achieve those things. So that's my ultimate hope. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate your support. If you're still here, Join this community, subscribe to this YouTube channel, go over to my Instagram, drop me a comment, tell me what you think. If I'm all over the place or if none of this makes sense, let me know. If I'm cooking, if I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking right now. If I'm saying something that's hitting with you, let me know. Let me know. Let's have a back and forth and talk about it. But ultimately, just want to express gratitude and love and appreciation. And this life can be amazing. So let's go get after it.